Welcome back, dear friends, to another episode of me battling the wonderful e-paper, when I could have just made little motorised reels with sprockets with endless reels of paper on, printed paper. Anywho, live and learn, progress. It is 2025 after all. Now, the last video, I was absolutely thrilled to have worked out how to draw to the e-paper in several sections, each letter, and each letter was composed of rectangles, circles and quadrupods, which I never remember the name, that software that, well, whatever. I'm getting sidetracked. And so that was thrilling, really pleased. Thank you very much for all the offers of help and suggestions and kindness and support. It's greatly appreciated, especially with a project like this that's actually an Art Deco clock. Who would have thought? It's so easy to forget. Now, dear friends, I recently heard from a very long time and patient supporter, follower, Alan, who said for several umpteenth time actually, you really should have a look at ChatGTP. It can be really helpful with software. And I thought, okay, fair enough, because in the back of my mind for the last 2 weeks, I've really wanted to have a polyline filling algorithm function, whatever, on Arduino, so I can trace around the outside of every letter without having to worry about triangles and all the other things, make it up. Just trace around, draw a line round, and then the software will fill that in, draw it out, fill it in. And I couldn't find, I've searched for hours, I couldn't find anything, anywhere. Yes, oh, how the evenings flew by. And I thought, okay, I'll ask ChatGTP. So I asked it, I want to draw a filled polygon on an Arduino, and pressed OK, send, and it immediately came back. It had found an example written by some wonderful person at AdaFruit that I hadn't been able to find at all in all my searching. So I dutifully copied it and adapted it slightly so it would work with the Waveshare e-paper library, and it worked. Oh, I was beside myself. In fact, let me show you it working. So here's the original sketch, which I did go through with you, and what I did was to comment out all of my lovely hand calculated arrays that told it where to draw rectangles and circles and things. Got rid of all that. Then these are the little bits. It creates a struct, which is a type of sort of customized data type, which I can never understand, but looking at this example, it does make sense. You call it a point, and you tell it it's made up of 2 integers, 1 x and 1 y. And then it's got sort of helper things. It's really nicely written, and I've worked through this, and it does make sense. Here's the one line, the function that actually draws onto the screen. So I've changed that from the AdaFruit version to use the paint one that I've got with the Waveshare. Fill polygon, oh look. Oh, when I saw that, I just thought, oh, this cannot be true. It is manna from heaven, I tells ya. And it goes through and does all sorts of really complicated things, which I have tried to understand, but are really well above my pay grade. But this is the difference. You create an array of points, and we've called it polygon. I've tried several different, as you can see, they're commented out. B without centres. So I went round and traced the outside of a B, because I haven't got a B, and thought, well, that's complicated. Look! It's drawn it. Isn't that wonderful? So I was most impressed that ChatGTP had managed to find that, like an advanced, really helpful search engine. So this morning, because obviously that's all well and good, having an array that it can read as a polyline, but that doesn't help us because we've got such limited memory. In the Arduino Mega we have 8 kilobytes of RAM, which isn't very much at all, but if you use it carefully, that's absolutely fine. We have, I've written it down, give me a moment, 256 kilobytes of program area, and that's read-only area. That when you upload the sketch, that's where it's all stored and compiled to. But you can't write to it, you can only write to stuff that's in the RAM area. But it means you can use a command called PROGMEM to get the compiler to store information that you want, such as arrays, in the program area, which is great because I've got so many strings of number, one lot of strings for each coordinates, one lot of coordinates for each character in the alphabet. So that's the perfect place to put it. But obviously the pain is that this polyline function, it needs to refer to an array of points, refer being the little star and things. Now that's no good because you can't read arrays that are stored in PROGMEM using this technique. It's fine if you've created one in RAM like we did lower down. So I started umming and ahhing, poring over all the data types and things, and then just thought, I wonder if ChatGTP can help. Now it's not cheating because I'm just looking up information. I'm not getting it to write it for me, or sort of, perhaps I am, but there comes a point, as you know, I'm very tenacious now, I've tried very hard, very, very hard, so I need a little bit of help. And I asked it to rewrite the example, but so that it could store the data arrays, the point arrays, in PROGMEM. And I'd like it to have an array of arrays. Now when I've looked up array of arrays on the normal search engines, it never provides any useful information at all. It ends up descending very quickly on forums into arguments about different storage types. But I asked ChatGTP for an array of arrays. It immediately came back with an updated change thing that you could start. Oh, it's so complicated because it's using references and memory pointers and all this. But it did it. And I've just put it onto the computer and it works. I can't tell you how thrilled I am. So here's the super improved version. That's top bit's the same. We've got that structure thing where it creates the point thing, and I changed it to byte and it does work properly, so I'm saving memory when I store it. Then here it says to put multiple polygons in PROGMEM. So you then, like we did before, you define an array of points, giving it all the coordinates that you want. And you can do that as many times as you want, and it's so nice, it gives examples, it doesn't assume that you're really clever. It's fantastic. Then you have an array of pointers to the polygons, so that can be as many as you want, like we did before. So look, there's poly 1, poly 2, poly 1, poly 2, just name them. And this, I never knew you could do this, dear friends. Didn't know this was possible. I thought you couldn't change anything in PROGMEM, but obviously while it's compiling the sketch, it can do stuff. So a number of points per polygon, while it's actually compiling it, it can read the length of those two polygons because they're all going to be different lengths, and it can store it as an array. Who knew? Well, lots of you intelligent people would have known, but I certainly didn't. So that's very clever. And then that's fixed, so you can't change that, but you don't need to. So I can now tell it with this which polygon on that list of polygons I want to draw, just to show you it works. So that's compiling it. We've still got the B here, so we'll see what it does. BC. And I've just drawn a simple shape, a rectangle. Yep, look at that. I just changed it to make sure I could see what was going on. So now I can then start or restart encoding all of my characters. The other thing that I discovered, because what I was doing, I was having to draw out, work out how I was going to construct each shape. This was the S, if you remember. And I was having to go through it because there's no way on 2D design to actually read the coordinates once you've drawn something. It's silly, but anyway, it's very old. I can export one of these drawings, as the CAD drawings, as a plot file for an old-fashioned pen plotter. And that actually just does produce all the different coordinates. And it took me ages, because what I've been doing is to print this out, then trimming off the front bit, then putting them into Excel, working out where I want the origin to be, then dividing by this huge number, which is obviously pixels on a A3 sheet, on the CAD sheet. And it's right old faff, it really is. So, can you guess where I'm going with this? Yes, you're right, ChatGTP. Oh, what a hypocrite. I spent so many months, years going on about how it's going to be the end of human ingenuity and it's just going to dumb everyone down. But I have to say, when it comes to spending hours drawing, dimensioning up a drawing and then putting every single measurement into a spreadsheet, and then I'll happily forego that. I've done that quite enough over the last 2 weeks. I uploaded the plot file that I just showed you to ChatGTP and said, can you give me a list as an array of the X and Y coordinates from this file? And then it did. It produced a list. And then I said, okay, well, the origin is in the top left-hand corner. Can you base all them? It did that. I'm happy to sit here, draw polyline around things, because 2D Design has got a polyline tool. And if we go over here, it's also got sort of snap tools, and one of them is nearest point. So if you've got a curve, like here, for example, I can just go, I think, oh look, that needs to be a bit shorter, a bit longer, a bit longer. Isn't that lovely? And I can draw it really quickly like that. And by the way, I had a most enjoyable day yesterday because Charles Hudson, a long-time follower from Boston in the US, was visiting the UK, and we met up and had a nice lunch and just chatted incessantly. We've never met before, but you get two engineers together and they've just so much in common. It was lovely. And then I brought him back here. We had a quick look at the machines and things. So that was most enjoyable. It was very nice to meet you, Charles. Thanks again. Now, back onto the more mundane things. Let's talk holes. Now, A has one hole. B has two holes. C has no holes. You get the pattern. I've got to find a way of making these holes. Now, the original way I was doing it when I was building it up from shapes was I draw all the shapes in black and then draw another, for example, triangle, white triangle in the middle to do that. Now I'm slightly doing it differently. I thought to me, Sen, wouldn't it be possible with this clever AdaFruit polyline filling algorithm to actually draw in this? Because, oh, let me show you. So my thinking was, let's just do an experiment. Let's draw a shape, something like this. So this is a polyline. It comes up here, then it comes in as some sort of diamond shape, which joins up exactly with that, and then finishes the shape. I dutifully put the coordinates in and tried it. Here's the result. Yes. You can see it's filled down from the top until it's hit this white bit in the middle, and then it's just ground to halt and given up. So I consulted me old mate ChatGTP and said, can you write me one? Is it possible to write a polyfill function that can have holes in it? And it came back with, no, you can't have holes in them on a microcontroller. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to draw separate shapes. Now I'm going to split them all up into separate letters and separate holes, and then I'm going to ask ChatGTP to produce lists of coordinates. And then when I need to draw a letter, I'll just have to, if it's an A, I'll have to draw the outside and the middle. This is one of the most frustrating and challenging projects I have ever been involved with. I think, unlike being a huge, complicated project, this is a really small, ridiculously complicated project. All I want to do, as I think I've mentioned several times recently, is just write the day, date and month on a small e-paper display. That was it. It was meant to be so simple. This was meant to have taken me, 5 minutes. Download the library, write the names, it comes up. I hope you appreciate the torment and angst that I put myself under for your entertainment. Live and learn though. This will have 1,000 uses around the home, and hopefully, I have to keep telling myself, other people who are watching this won't have to go through it because they'll be able to find out how to do it really easily. It seems to be working. There's an A. Draws the outside and then the inside. I have to say, it is still quite labour intensive, because for every letter I've got to dimension, find out where little twiddly bits inside are, if there are any. I get fed up with these twiddly bits. It's been a couple of days, but I am making progress. Look, I've got all the data inputted or saved as PROGMEMs for every single letter. Some of them, as you can see, with, for example, with the 0, we've got in and an out, as I explained before. First it draws the out that's solid, and then it uncolours the middle bit. And sometimes with things like 8, there are 3 different bits, because it's got to draw the outside, take the top circle out, take the bottom circle out. And I've been thinking, how can I then combine these into something that I can call to write a letter? But because of all this is in PROGMEM and my brain is a muscle, and I really cannot, I've never been able to figure out all these references, the stars, and then references of references. Oh, it's beyond me. So what I thought I'd do, look, oh, very exciting, I've created my first ever struct. Your own type of variable, I suppose you'd call it. Look, struct, I've called it layers, and I've called it B for back, M for middle, F for front, bytes. I had no idea whether it would work, but I was copying that one. I've created an array that is in RAM, ooh, naughty man, and each one is a bit of data. So this is 0 basically. There we are, 0 is the first one, the index. Then it's going to say, okay, draw the outside of the circle, that's what 35 refers to, the number of the string that's stored, whatever. Then draw the middle bit, and then at 255 means it doesn't do anything. I thought we just need something that means it does nothing. Obviously you have to have a figure there because it's got room for 3, and it goes on like that. Look, oh, I've written finally a function called draw character. It takes an index, 0 there, like we just said, all the way up to 50 or something. No, it's not fit anyway. There we are, look, I've created one of my struct layers called lay. Made it equal to the 3 numbers that are in that array at that point. Then it says, okay, draw polygon index. There's always going to be something to draw in the first position, always. And it's always going to be coloured, it's going to be black. So that's okay. But then if the next part, and this is how you do it, you see, you've created lay, you've made it equal to that, the 3 numbers, but now you can say lay B, so that was the back. Then you go to if lay middle is not equal to 255, therefore do something, draw polygon by index, lay M, uncoloured. And the back, same with that one, because they're both always going to be uncoloured. And it works, because it basically, it calls, there we are, look, that function there, that I was provided with by my ever intelligent ChatGTP friend, who I have to pay to be friends with. Anyway, as proof, I asked it to draw a 0, and it did. Now I need to write a thing that's going to be the next sort of level up. All these levels and levels and levels, too many levels. That's going to be draw word, because now I need to be able to send it through a number, or well, it will be some sort of number from the real-time clock to tell it to write sort of November or Monday or whatever. Let's get on with that. Thank you so much for watching. I think this is probably a good time to stop, because 20 minutes, I wouldn't want to inflict any more than that on you of this stuff. But only this morning, oh, it's just so exciting. I managed, because we're ahead of time here, to get the Mega, the Arduino Mega, to write to 3 displays, 3 paper displays. Everyone said it was impossible, but it isn't. Look! There's one with the day or the date, there's a Monday, and there's the month, and they're all connected and running off the Arduino Mega. If you're interested in such sad things, accomplishments, do make sure you watch the next video. Thanks again for watching.